Shazam, issue 6, Mark Waid writing with Dan Mora on the art. So last issue of this ended with Freddy dropping a bombshell saying that he would take the Shazam power instead, and he would happily work for the gods. He would be their puppet. He would willingly do that. Which, this first few pages, before we get to the rest of it, this first few pages where the gods start saying how much they love Freddy, because he's like, oh, Frederick the Loyal, go Frederick! Like, them cheering him on because he's willing to be their puppet was making me laugh. Like, this book is so funny. And
it is.
It's been getting funnier issue by issue.
And it's just like, the tone of it, with like, just how zany it gets. Like, there's bureaucratic dinosaurs, and it works, right? There's these petty gods that are front running, and again, just everything works, and it feels like it's definitely geared towards an era, but it also feels fresh, right? Like, this feels like from what I've read about the Big Red Cheese of Shazam, and back in the 50s when it was outselling Superman, it felt like it was doing a lot of this silly stuff, but Waid and Moore are doing it so earnestly that it still just works.
That's the thing. It's filled with comedy, but it's also earnest. None of it's like particularly meta. It's a lot of it's just coming from the interactions. They've set up these god characters to be these petty assholes. So them reacting to all this was really funny. Of course, Freddy is faking it. He starts whispering to Billy, "Oh, this is just a stalling tactic. Just go along with it. Like, push me." So they have a bit of a play fight, and the gods realize they're acting it, so they step in. And that's when the rest of the kids show up, because they've raided the closet at the Rock of Eternity for just various magical items. So they don't have their powers, but they come in with various things that will help them fight, including the T-Rex alien, who's been helping them with or not helping them, but has been trying to get Billy to fill out paperwork. He shows up with a cloak on as well, so that's a whole thing. Hell of a page. They even all give themselves names. We've got Bullet Girl, which is Darla. We got Spy Master, which is the dinosaur, obviously, as the box puts it. Mr. Atom, who's Pedro, and he's got like a sort of shinobi knight armor thing on. And then you've got Eugene the Invincible, and he's got like a sorcerer staff type thing. So, and the gods all start laughing, and from here, like, a lot of this issue is this big fight between them and the gods, and it's genuinely really endearing and really funny, because the gods getting pissed off at them, or, in fact, the funniest moment of the book, the funniest moment of the week, for easily, is Billy gets like a magic club given to him from the other characters. He walks up and says, "Hey, Achilles, how's that heel doing?" And then there's a close-up panel of Achilles' eyes just going wide as he goes, "Eee!" That made me buckle with laughter. That is so funny.
And then shortly after that, Darla, who's wearing the Bullet Man stuff, where it's just launching head first, right? That's the entire thing. She goes, "Didn't he know about head injuries?" That made me laugh as well.
Yeah, and then Eugene turns Zeus into a
swan.
Well, it's a duck.
It's a duck. Yeah, that's right, because he mentions he had turned into a swan once.
Yeah, he's like, "No, you're more of a quack." So then he turns him into a duck. So then you've got, and I love this panel, it's angry Zeus as a duck pointing his feather and saying, "Cease this, children, now! You will stop this." Oh my god, like, this book just, like, it has this sense of humor, which I think maybe, like, I liked it from issue 1, but it maybe took a few issues to get into the vibe of how it's going to feel. But now that I've, like, acquired the taste for it, it's like, this is like 2 issues in a row. Because that last issue when they're on the moon fighting whatever
Cargo.
Yeah, but what was the ape that was like the screw up, the Jerry from Parks and Rec?
Like, I forget his name. But
I forget the name, but you know,
ape.
But it doesn't matter who. The joke was is that it's just like, "Oh, come on, Jeff! Like, stop being a screw up, Jeff!" Like, this is like 2 or 3 issues in a row where it's just been making me laugh constantly, whilst being very fun with great art and advancing its story. And yeah, it's a lot of payoff. So, that's a big chunk of the issue. Eventually, you know, the gods kind of like stand up united, and they're ready to like win the fight. But Billy's ran off at this point to to go do something. Oh, I'll just mention as well the T-Rex quickly, the dinosaur. Opens his like case, which is like infinite or whatever, and it sucks in Atlas. So
goes, yeah, I have this case, and Atlas like, yeah, empty case. He goes, oh, it's like a doorway, and then just swallows up Atlas. Yeah, it was very, and Mora really working the not episodic storytelling. I can't think today.
Sequential.
Thank you. Sequential storytelling here. But I also like when they're going with Billy and Freddy are going up against Mercury, and they're trying to figure out what kind of god he is. And it's like, oh, he's a god. He's fast. He's like a speedster. Not a speedster. Who's that Flash villain that wears the stripes? And then they go with Trickster. That was another piece that was like a page worth that is just between Waid and Mora, just expertly told.
Yeah.
That was real fun.
Again, they're making it look so easy how to just be this charming and funny, like constantly. But Billy's whole plan is he goes off to talk to Solomon, who's kind of staying out of all this, and is like, hey, you're the one who makes me wise, right? You're the one who gives me the wise powers. Like, can't you make me wise enough? Well, first of all, Solomon admits that he's kind of ashamed that he took part in all this because it wasn't the right thing to do. But he's like, hey, can't you make me wise enough that it'll overcome any of their influence because I'll be wise enough to realize that I'm being puppeteered by someone? And he's like, okay, technically, yes, I can do that, but there is a risk, where you might, there's already this thing where you're referring to like the adult version as the captain, like your identity's starting to veer away, that it's becoming two distinct personalities. And there's a chance that this will make that worse, where you'll just become two distinct people where you won't feel like you're the same person anymore. And he's like, do you want to risk that? And he's like, yeah, if it'll fix all this, yeah, let's do it. So he's like, all right, say the word. So that ends up being our solution to this, where they try and control him when he becomes Shazam again, and they can't. The wisdom of Solomon has been turned up to make him realize that he's being controlled, so he's able to fight it off. So that kind of ends this arc of the gods trying to, control him.
Well, and Billy and Freddy also realize that it was the wizard that granted the powers, not the gods. They just get the powers from the gods.
Yeah, they can't choose to change it to someone else. Yeah,
right. So like, even if Freddy had agreed, they couldn't have moved the powers from him to, from Billy to Freddy, which I thought was curious as well. So there's something else at play here, with the wizard.
Yeah, Shazam gets all snipey at them though and says, hey, yeah, the world doesn't care about you guys as much, but that's because you just expect to be worshipped without doing anything to be worshipped for. Maybe you should start actually trying to help. And just begrudgingly is like, okay, well, think about that. Peace out. we're leaving.
Boy.
Yeah, so, which leads to an interesting thing where seems like they want the dinosaur to stay on, because he's really excited by the closet in the Rock of Eternity with all the artifacts and shit.
Yeah, and because he wants to organize it because it's such a mess.
Yeah, he's all about the order and the chaos. And Billy's like, hey, yeah, all right, we can hire you. So it seems like we're going to keep him around as a supporting character, which is awesome because it's fun having a dinosaur around. But it also leads into what we're doing next in the book, because he mentions there's a problem with all this, though, that I've been taking a while, so other dinosaurs are going to be coming to like see what I'm doing and sort of deal with all this. Cut to a bunch of dinosaurs in a spaceship looking for Billy's house. And then I think my favorite part of this is this, okay, find exactly where to go for this Billy Batson and we can take care of this. And someone's like, the form never got filled out, so we don't have the address. And there's just a panel of a dinosaur yelling, the paperwork piles up too fast. Do you know how hard it is to hold a pen? And that made me laugh as well. That was a great joke. Yeah. I think there's something really funny to me about an entire society that's built around T-Rex shaped dinosaurs, but they don't have a different writing instrument that's easier for them to use with their bodies. They're still just using regular pens, and that's what the joke is. And that's pretty funny.
And they're wearing human-esque clothes as well, because when the one showed up at their doorstep, he's wearing a top hat and monocle and stuff. So like, and they're driving around classic flying saucers, that look like the 1950s. type thing too. So
Yes.
there's so much at play here, and yeah, they're called the Auditors. So and they're looking for Billy, and right they tracked the signature from Shazam, right?
Yeah, but they don't go to Shazam. They incorrectly go
No.
towards Kandak, and Black
Yeah.
Adam rips a hole in the ship and says, "What the hell are you doing here, you bastards?" And that's the cliffhanger for. I'm paraphrasing, of course, slightly, but
Yes.
but
Yeah.
Black Adam's not very happy that these dinosaurs have shown up. So
Yes.
that's where we're going next. It says next time the Captain versus Black Adam with space dinosaurs.
Which this is the first time we've had Black Adam and the Captain together in a book in like years, right? Because they never really interacted in any of those Justice League books.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time they properly were together.
It's been a long time, so that's pretty exciting. And we're, so between this and between Mary Marvel, right, the Josie Campbell stuff they're doing, like Shazam's becoming one of my favorite little corners of the DCU because they're just pleasant reads. And that goes a long way with me. The stuff that I look forward to reading because it's fun. Like, yes, we have books like Detective Comics that are just really good storytelling, right? But like this with the sense of humor and just the kids and the interactions between the characters, they're ones that I always chart high for me.
Yeah, but there's a lot of craft here. It's just doing something different to, your Detective Comics or your Tom King books or whatever else.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of skill to actually have it read this easy and to be as funny as it's being. It's very charming and it is very feel good, and it's a nice counterpoint to some of the more serious comics that we're reading. And Mary's kind of in this in between place because she's in the Amazon's Attack stuff, where that is a bit more serious. So it does feel like she's graduated from the rest of the kids to being a sort of more grown up comic. Not that it's a super grown up comic. I just mean in comparison to the lighthearted tone that this has. But no, and obviously the art's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if I've said too much. I mean, I mentioned the eyes widening of Achilles because that was part of the joke, was the reaction on the face. But all the stuff looks so good. It's kind of a weird issue because a lot of it goes without anyone in Shazam outfits. It's very, it's all these weird costumes the kids are wearing. But there's a lot of storytelling being done with the eyes and just the sequencing adds to the humor. It's there to help tell the stories and the jokes. And notably, the credits for this, and it has been this the whole time, I think, it doesn't say writer Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora. It says storytellers and then lists both of them. And technically that's always true, I think, but I think it's particularly apt here because a lot of this comedy is working because of not only how the art's drawn, but also how it's sequenced in the panels. There's a lot of thoughts went into the timing of like, okay, set up the joke here, pay it off here, that kind of thing. There's a lot of that going on. So
it feels like that Mora has input into not necessarily what Wade's writing, but how he writes it, right? So they can effectively work together to get this out.
It wouldn't surprise me if like the actual layouts, because some writers are very specific with what they want on the page as far as layouts go, and they want a big panel of this and a little panel of that. It wouldn't surprise me if Mora's getting to adjust that, or even like almost from scratch get to decide how it's going to be shown on the page.
Yeah.
Beyond just
I remember,
beyond just here's the number of speech bubbles we need on this page kind of thing.
Right. Because I also remember when Waid and Somni were on Daredevil, that was the same thing with storytellers too, and that felt like an equal share as well. So I just feel like once Waid likes working with an artist, they're just going to do fantastic work.
Because this is similar to, I don't remember the exact definition, but back in the day they referred to it as the Marvel method, which is where it was a lot more free form for the artist to like interpret what to do, whereas the more traditional thing was the writer specifically saying page 1 panel 1, page 1 panel 2 kind of thing. So and it makes sense that that's evolved over time as well, because back when comic book writing started, the layouts were a lot more straightforward. They'd be all boxes, whereas now you get crazy layouts where things are like overlapping and whatnot, so you feel that the artist does have to have a bit more input in that. So Anyway, fantastic. As this book has been, what are you giving Shazam, Matt?
I'm giving this an 8.5.
Yeah. I think screw it. I'm going 9 on this as well.